Hey, let's talk about gear. All right, so this is was the final version that I completed most of my hike with. And what I'm gonna do is I'll set this down, I'll go around it, I'll unpack it, and then after I unpack it, then I'll kind of zoom on if there's anything that I changed, which there was a few things I changed. So, but basically the pack was the ULA circuit. I had this and I switched it out when I went to when I got to Pennsylvania. I had this in my storage. Side note, my very first ultralight pack was a ULA circuit. I had it in a purple 4 years ago. And so I came full circle back to this. My only nitpick with this one, major one, was I wish there was a compression strap right here in the middle. And so just to kind of bring everything in. So, but aside from that, loved it. It's a great pack. I also have a taller torso. I fit closer to a 23-inch, 24-inch torso. This ULA makes a great pack for longer torsos. Some of us have frustrations with torso sizes that only go up to 21 inches, so you get an improper fit. So that was another big one. But yeah, so I loved it, and let's get into what I had. All right, so starting from the front, had my Z seat, loved it. So it's on my favorite gear of 2015. It still is amazing. And then around the side here, I had two smart water bottles. I just got these in for placeholders. I carried a 1 liter and then a 750 milliliter smart water bottle, and that was kind of my gauge. I will say that down in Georgia, North Carolina, water was never an issue. I don't think I went more than 7 miles without water. But then as you go further north, like when I got up into Pennsylvania and New Jersey and New York, went much longer. So just keep in mind when you're on message boards and they say you never have to carry more than a liter of water, it's not entirely true. It's location dependent. And then I'll show you the rest of my water system and you'll see why I say that. And then coming around, I always have my cook system right here. And this was the Evernew. This is the Evernew 0.9 liter. And then inside, what I ended up going with was I went back to my standard trusty Soto Windmaster, and I love this. And then I just had a fuel canister in there. So now for like overnighters when I go, and actually I want to do a gear vid for when I do an overnighter, I'll reduce down the size because I generally tend to just do dehydrated meals. But I was actually cooking in this. I was doing mac and cheese, and I was adding like cocktail franks, and I wanted the big volume size, and it worked out great for me. And then it had mug style handles, so I could drink it like a cup of coffee, and so that was also important to me. And then my this did change from my gear pre-gear video. Love this thing. I'm definitely a convert. I will not be going back to a titanium spoon. It never failed on me. It cleans so easy. And it fits, and it just has a better feel in your mouth, if that makes sense. So that was it for my food kit. And then, so before I left, I kept telling myself I was going to get a pair of flip-flops for camp shoes, and I forgot. I had so much going on, like in the week before I got on the trail, that I just completely forgot. So I came down off of Blood Mountain to Mountain Crossings and instantly said, I want one of these. These are Waldies. These are not Crocs. Now, the great thing about these Waldies are, I gotta weigh it. I don't have my scale. I'm still moving into my new place. But these are easily half the weight of Crocs. And I might add doubly comfortable. More comfortable than Crocs. The price didn't stick out to me, so I don't think they were expensive. but these are never going to leave my pack. These instantly make it on the 2016 favorite gear, and you know, they look like Crocs. They feel, you know, Crocs, and I just attached them to my trekking pole things, and then just kind of slid them in the compression straps, and they never moved, and they were there. And long breaks, take them out, and these things were just awesome. I mean, just awesome. Again, you might not want to take camp shoes on like an overnighter, but I really feel for a long distance through hike where you really need to give your feet good treatment. Definitely something that your feet can air, and just to get out of your shoes. I mean, it was such a morale boost to slip into these at camp at the end of the night. All right, so then my absolute most favorite piece of gear that this turned out to be, and I didn't even use it for its intended purpose, the Z-Packs rain kilt. I use this thing for everything. And as Z-Packs, if you're watching, you should just make a utility sheet. I use this, I would cinch this and then slide my pack in it, and it could sit upright, and it was like a little pack cover. At lunch breaks, rest breaks, this was the first thing I pulled out. I laid it on the ground, and then I could lay anything I needed for that break out on it, and I could see it visually. There was no searching in the grass or anything like that. What else? Oh, when I got to camp, if it wasn't gonna rain or whatever, I would set my shoes and everything on this. It just was such a handy piece. Now, I know what you're thinking, you could use Tyvek, and you are absolutely right. If I had Tyvek, I would have used it. I had bought this to use as a rain kilt, but I found my poncho just worked great. There's really no need to put a rain kilt on, but this thing became invaluable to me. I just really enjoyed it, and I'm gonna keep it until it wears out, and then I'll just use a similar size Tyvek sheet. The one advantage is this is considerably lighter than Tyvek if we're really getting into ounce counting, which I admittedly do. So, but anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't buy this specifically for a utility sheet, but if you have a rain kilt, whether it's sil nylon or in Cuban, I mean, it's so multi-purpose. And this absolutely was my most favorite piece of gear for my hike. All right, toiletry kit. I have a separate video of what's in my ditty bag. Nothing's changed. I did have a suntan lotion, which I used every day. But other than that, everything, nothing changed. This was my water system. I have another video on it as well. Same thing, loved it. This flexible thing proved to be genius. And I carried two 1.5 liters. Some people randomly would comment that I was a lot, but I loved it. And for like 3 ounces, I mean, gosh, I could fill it with water. And here's where it really came in handy. At nighttime, I would collect all my water. So I would filter my 2 bottles of water, and I wouldn't touch that. So I wouldn't have to worry about it in the morning. And then I'd have 3 liters of water for cooking. And I mean, I drank a lot of water. So I would chug a liter right off, before I'd go to bed. And it was just really nice. I never had to worry about my water situation at camp at night. And then, of course, this is my tornado tube. I got a whole video on that. It worked out perfect. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing on this. All right. And lastly, my OR hat. I will say when I do my through hike again, or my attempt again, I'm not going to take a brimmed hat. If you'll notice, halfway through my videos, I switched to a bandana. I found that to be much more pleasing on my head. But I still did carry this. I did use this when it rained, and but I don't really, it is what it is. For me personally, I don't think I would take this on a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. Pacific Crest Trail or CDT would be a whole nother story. All right, so keep in mind my pack was just a little bit more full. I don't have a full food bag in here, so it's kind of reduced down a little bit. But going inside, this is how I packed my pack every day. I had the Cuban fiber, liner bag. Again, great. You don't have to buy one. If you're just tuning in and looking for gear ideas, you don't need a Cuban fiber bag. I bought this, I've had this for 4 years. It still works great, but a trash compactor bag, unscented, would be my recommendation. All right, so then I have my wind shirt, and if it was like real windy or chilly for the day, it would go on the outside. If it was like hot, midsummer, it just went on the inside right on top. Poncho, again, if there was forecast for the rain, it would go on the outside. If not, just went right on top. I mean, you're talking 10 seconds to get your pack off and pull it out if you need to. And then because this isn't waterproof, I did use a pack liner. In the UL world, this would be considered a sin because I already have a pack liner. But I gotta be honest, I didn't like things on the outside getting wet. That's just me. Again, it's 2 ounces. And granted, ounces add up to pounds, but this made me feel better and I liked it. So, it's my hike. But anyways, yeah, so I had a pack liner. And there's that. Okay, so then what I did, now one of the big changes was I got away from a lot of like fancy stuff sacks, and like everybody says, go with Ziploc bags. So that was my first aid kit, ditty bag. Exactly the same as my pre-hike video, nothing changed. The only thing I did add on was this empty Sea to Summit dry bag. And the reason I added this in was when I had over 3.5 days of food, my food bag was filled, but I still hung my food kit, anything that had a scent, my toiletry kit, chapstick. So I found like in my pot and pan and everything that could have a scent. And so I just needed something a little extra to put this in, and so I would put all my utility stuff in here and then hang it along with my food bag. All right. Okay, food bag. Loved it. Yeah, it's the Z-Packs food bag. No qualms. I did end up shifting back to the Z-Packs Altiplex. The tarp tent moment is a great tent, is always going to be one of my favorites, but it really came down to weight, 34 ounces. This is this was 19 ounces, and it was a Palace. It's a hit on the wallet, but it is a Palace, and this is a great tent. One day I'm going to do a video on all my tents. I own 5 tents, and I use them for all different reasons. So keeping with the Ziploc bag theme, if you saw my pre-hike, I had an Osprey compression storage sack, and I got rid of that. And what I ended up doing was divvying up into 3 separate ones. So this was my sleeping clothes and just my top and bottom. I always kept these separate because these would get stinky, and I didn't want them to interfere with my town clothes. And I'll go over my clothes here in close up. And then finally, I kept my phone charger, my pillow, my little memory stick, and then my beanie and charging cable in a separate bag. What was really nice about this was when I unloaded, I could just put everything at the bottom of my tent, not worry about it, but I could see everything. Practicality-wise, it just made sense to go with the Ziplocs. For those that are going on a through hike, you really do not need to spend $15 on a Cuban fiber stuff sack for a lot of things. Now, I'm getting ready to say that the one thing that if you do want to spend money on, this is my sleeping bag. I did end up going back to stuffing it. I've actually found for pack management, it worked better. So this is a dry bag. Again, this is Cuban fiber. I've had all these bags for years. I would go with a Sil nylon dry sack for cheaper if I was to do it all over again. So I mean, really for me, and not a knock on Cuban fiber, but with Sil nylon being so much more affordable and getting into the lightweight components, really the only thing that I would say if you're going to spend on Cuban fiber would be a shelter or a sleeping bag, or something of your big 3. All these accessory Cuban fiber stuff you really don't need. Sil nylon or Ziplocs work just as fine. So, And I'm gonna go over my 2 sleeping bags. I used, I had a summer sleeping bag as well. And then my Montbell, this is the Anorak, X-Lite Anorak. I found this in their bargain bin. So I got it for super cheap, but I love this thing. It's awesome. I didn't store it in a stuff sack. I just kind of used it as a filler. And last but not least, one of my other favorites of 2016. This is the Thermarest Neo Air X-Lite SV. The SV stands for speed valve, and I really loved it. I could blow my pad up in like seriously like 8 breaths. You'll read that there's some complaints that it loses air, and what I found from my research, and there was a couple times where I lost some air. What I found was this is what kind of makes the air go in faster. In order to have it stay full your whole night's sleep, you just have to really make sure that that black rubber insert is fully in and flattened out before you start folding it, and then you won't have any air loss. So the other thing I loved about it, it was rectangular. I felt like I had more room, even though it was still a 72 by 20 inch pad. It just felt bigger, and it was only, I think it's only 3 ounces heavier. To me, totally worth the extra ounces. Wasn't as crinkly as a standard Neo Air X-Lite. Blew up super fast. Loved it. So that's the contents inside my pack. I'm going to cut away and do some close-ups on a few things that kind of changed significantly. Clothing and my sleeping bag. I'll touch on this. All right, so this is what I ended up wearing. This is a Nike Dry Fit, and then I changed my shorts up. These are just the ex officio boxer briefs, and then these are Patagonia baggies, and then Darn Tough socks. I found the Darn Tough socks actually they didn't stink as quickly as the Smart Wools did. And then the bandana over here. The reason why I shifted to this short and boxer system was I'm going to come over here. I had these New Balance shorts and these Brooks Sherpas. Now I'll get to the Brooks Sherpas in a sec because I still love them. But I was wearing these, and first of all, these New Balance shorts suck for long distance hiking. Once you get wet with sweat, they take forever to dry. They do not wick. And then whereas the Patagonia baggies, long time tested, and I really enjoyed wearing these. And what I did with the baggy shorts was I don't like their cheap mesh insert, so I just cut that off and bought the ex officio boxers, and really enjoyed that combination. The other nice thing too is when it got really hot out and I didn't want to wear my silkies to bed, I could take these shorts off and then just sleep in my boxers. So that was kind of a nice little side benefit. So going back to why I went to the boxer brief short combo was the byproduct of these shorts when they got wet was they left a rash on my legs. So I didn't get the monkey butt rash. I got the leg rash, and it was because I was just wearing the liner. So there was nothing to protect the chafing. So by going to a boxer brief and then cutting the liner out using this, I didn't have any more chafing the rest of the trip. So this was my trail. The interesting thing that I liked about this Nike Dry Fit, this isn't like a polyester blend that stinks the minute you put it on. Actually, I found it to have no more stinking properties than the merino wool shirt I was wearing. So, and then also this dried way faster. So what I did then was I took my icebreaker shirt and I turned that into my town clothes. So these are the Brooks running short Sherpas, which I absolutely love. I wear these all the time, actually. The liner is just buttery soft. So when you got into town and did laundry, you throw these on, and you throw this on, and you throw a clean pair of socks on. Life was good. So essentially my town clothes were, a second set of trail clothes. Some may call it overkill. I call it being clean and comfortable and good for morale. So, and then the other thing I had in my bag was I had a pair of 1.5 ounce gloves I would use for a fire or a hot pot, and then a balaclava, or in there. So, but all that would fit into my town clothes. I kept those separate because they were generally always clean, and I never had to worry about them getting dirty. I used 2 sleeping bags. On the left is the Katabatic Gear Flex 30. On the right is the Jacks Are Better Sniveler, I believe it is. I used this one when it got really hot, and it's really basic, bare bones. It's got a Velcro closure at the bottom instead of a zipper. But here's what was kind of neat, was in the middle of the bag is this Velcro, and it snaps shut, but you can open it up and put your head through it. And then also included is a carabiner, and you can secure it. So you can wear it around camp, on chilly mornings. And, it's just a lot of fun, and it's kind of multi-purpose. So that was the, this is the Jacks Are Better. Focus is out there. Sorry, I'm going to fix it here. All right, on the left here, Katabatic Gear Flex 30. This is just a tremendous quilt. I mean, the craftsmanship is just insane. Very detailed. It's a little hot in the wallet, but this is a bag you can have for 10 years. So if you look at it like that, it's a wonderful investment. What Katabatic Gear that I like is there's different foot box options depending on how cold it is. On a lot of quilts, you get the drawstring, but there still can be a little gap. And if it's real cold out, you might put something down there to help block it. With Katabatic, they've created a snap system and then a drawstring. So everything closes in. You don't get any drafts. But anyway, so these were the 2 I used. I enjoyed them both. I love them both. And so the Katabatic Gear on the left and the Jacks Are Better on the right. Okay, couple last little pieces. Trekking poles, Black Diamond Trail Ergo Corks. Loved them. I started with the rubber tips. Totally loved them. I didn't throw them away. They got stuck in mud. They are lost in the pits of mud. So I guess you could say the only downfall is, not very good for leave no trace in case they do come off the tips. The bonuses, though, really quiet. You don't get the click, clack, annoying sound. And I loved them on rocks. They really helped with balance. And then finally, and I talked about the Z-Packs rain kilt as being my absolute favorite piece. This would be a very, very, very close second. I just fell in love with these shoes. These are the Merrell All Out Blaze model. This is the non-waterproof. My personal opinion is waterproof shoes are a complete waste and scam. That's we can talk about that either in the comments below or in another video. These are the non-waterproof, and these are extremely light and very ventilated. Great tread, and I'm not sure, but I think these have like a 0 drop on them, if you know what that is. But these things were just amazing. The reason I got into these was my Keens were already falling apart. So when I got into Franklin, North Carolina, the sole on my right side was already falling apart. I could have sent them back and got new, but it was like, then you got to send them in, and what am I going to wear while I'm sending them in? I didn't know when I was going back on the trail. So I went to 3 Eagle Outfitters in Franklin, and they hooked me up, and I just really loved what they did for me. A lot of people in Franklin rave about Outdoor 76. I spent a week in Franklin, and I went to both places. I don't have anything bad to say about Outdoor 76, but I will say that I felt that the staff at 3 Eagles Outfitters in Franklin just really kind of got the thru hiker, and especially when it came to shoes. So again, these are the Merrell All Out Blazes. Shoes are a very personal subject, so oh look, you can actually see how ventilated they are through. But anyways, they're personal Very personal. I'm hesitant to say you have to go out and buy these, but if you are looking for a hybrid trail hiker slash running shoe, I would definitely give these some serious consideration. All right, so that wraps up my gear for my hike. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments below. And I want to do a video on all the tents I have, why I like them, and which instances I use them in. And then I also want to do one on my absolute favorite cook kit, which is an alcohol cook kit for 1 to 2 day hikes. All right, have a great one.